Hello everyone. Very good evening. Welcome to Study Online and welcome to Weekend Batch. Today happens to be the day 2 of Python Weekend Batch. If my voice is audible for everyone, please do respond by saying yes. Okay. And what about the video? Is the video is visible for everyone? Okay. Fine. I hope everyone are able to see the video as well as you can hear my voice. I think there is no issue in that. Okay, great. Guys, from next coming week onwards, I want each one of you to turn on your cam while attending the class. But today, it's okay, fine. It's not informed priorly. That's the reason I'll be turning on my cam and I'll be taking the class. And from next week onwards, can I expect each and everyone to turn on your cam and listen to the class? Will that be fine? Okay, fine. Guys, why? Because when it comes to online class, it is not giving me that feel of offline class. Fine. Why? Because where I used to see the students, where I used to see the what I can tell. Maybe I used to see the eyes of the students, and uh, I used to get the things like whether the concept is conveyed in a very proper way or not, and whether they are attentive in the class or not, whether they are maintaining the notes or not. I just want the clarity. That's the reason I want each one of you next week, not this week, not today. Next week, you want me to. That means you should be turning on your camera priorly on informing. And those who want to do the makeup and all, maybe you can just do it for yourself. I'm just saying for boys, sorry, girls. And when it comes to boys, guys, no one I'm telling, please wear a proper dress where each and everyone can see you. Fine. I know maybe if I'm at my home 100%, this is not the dress that I'll be wearing. Correct, right? Because we are at our home. But when it comes to class, please feel this as the actual class and attend. Okay. Without wasting the time, let me just share you the screen. Please do let me know is my screen is visible for everyone. Please do respond if the screen is visible. I want a very quick response from your side. Please do respond. Okay, great. And please ignore the background things, whatever it is there. You just have to listen to my voice, and maybe if you want, you can just see my face. That's it. Let me just do one thing. Let me just open Python Weekend Batch November. Please do respond. What I have thought in day one. I'll not be asking the question, but I want you to respond in the chat box. Fine. Please tell me first what I have thought. Don't you think I have taught you the applications of Python? First of all, why Python? Very good. Why Python? In 2021, if you want to learn any programming language and if you want to get your dream job in the IT company, why Python? I think I have given a clear picture about that. Yes or no? Please do respond. I have given the clear picture about that. What is the rank of Python? Please do respond. What is the rank of Python? At least by this time, you people should tell me the answer. Okay. First rank. Okay, great. And I have just told you the demand of Python and the opportunities that are available. Please tell me the main three applications of Python. Assume that in the interview, if they're asking, nobody gonna ask this, but if they're asking the main three applications of Python, what will be your answer? AI, ML, DS, and web development. Is that fine? Starting for whatever I have written, you can just tell any of those four things. That's up to your wish. Okay. Yeah, great. Next, please do let me know who invented Python. Could you please tell me his name? Maybe in the chat box. What's his name? And please change your username. I think one person would have told Redmi. Redmi, please change your name as whatever your father or mother would have named. Okay, Guido van Rossum invented Python. Please tell me when he invented Python. What's the year? 1989. He invented Python. Okay, officially, when Python was released to the market? Officially. Very good. Python was released to the market officially in the year 1991. And if you want me to tell the exact date, that happens to be February 20th. Is that clear? Okay, fine. Next. When it comes to yesterday's session, I think I have just made you to understand the ease of Python and simplicity of Python when compared to other programming language. How simple is the code, how to understand, to write, yes or no? I think printing hello world in C, Java, Python, printing welcome to study online 500 times in Java and Python, and swapping of two numbers when it comes to Java and Python. That's what I have thought, and hope that you have updated your notes. Please do respond. What do you mean by assembler? I'll be giving the chance for one person. That just a minute. Let me just ask a few questions. That's it. Let me just ask a question for Vanaja. Okay. Vanaja, could you please unmute yourself? If you're comfortable, you can just turn on your cam. Please tell me, what is assembler? Guys, at least read. It is there in the console.
Yeah, actually it converts assembly level language to machine level language. So assembler converts.
Okay. And what about compiler?
It converts high level language to machine level language.
Okay, great. Next, Aishwarya Hiremat. When it comes to microprocessor, which language it will understand? Which language the microprocessor will understand? Aishwarya Hiremat. Could you please unmute yourself, Aishwarya? It's okay, no need to turn on the cam. Just unmute yourself. Okay, I think she's hesitating. Next, Kadesh. Kadesh. Could you please unmute yourself? Kadesh or Kadesh? Kadesh. I think the one who is wearing the white shirt, I guess. I'm not able to see properly. Yeah. Kadesh, could you please unmute yourself and tell me which language the microprocessor will understand? Guys, and one more thing. Okay, I forgot to ask this question. How many of them are attending first? That means today is your first day. For how many of them today is your first day? Please do respond by saying yes in the chat box. I'll be getting to know. Just respond yes. Now, if you raise your hand, how can I see that? Okay. So many of them are attending. Okay, fine. Okay, no issues. Okay. Priyanka, could you please unmute yourself and tell me which language the microprocessor will understand? I think Priyanka also told yes.
Assembly language, sir.
Assembly language. Okay. That's the reason you should have attended yesterday's session. It's okay, no issues, Priyanka. Guys, which language the microprocessor will understand? Just tell me in the chat box.
Level language, sir.
Machine level language, or I can just put it as what? Binary language. Okay, great. Let me just start off with the day 2 without wasting the time. Guys, please do respond in the chat box whether you have kept a separate notebook of 300 pages. Better if you keep 300 pages. Why? Because I'm damn sure if you keep 300 pages, minimum 3 to 4 books will be getting over maybe after completing this course. Minimum 3 books. That's for sure. Why? Because content is like that. Okay. If not, please do one thing. Today itself, after this class, go to a bookstore, purchase a book, a pen. Please start to write the notes. It plays a vital role when it comes to interview. If you want to quickly recap the things, whatever I have taught, it is very difficult for you to understand each and everything in a single day. That's the reason, please write down your notes properly. Okay. Let me just close this. Let me just create a notes. This happens to be the day 2 I will tell. Okay. Okay. If day 2 is visible for everyone, please do respond by saying yes. Okay, fine. The topic happens to be pretty simple. Conversion of high-level language into machine-level language. Please tell me, already you people are aware of one software which is used to convert the high-level language into machine-level language. What is the software name? Could you please tell me the answer? What is that software name? Very good. See, you're only telling the answer. The software name happens to be what? Very good. Guys, think and answer. When it comes to conversion of high-level language into machine-level language, one software is used. What is that software? Okay, okay. I'm just seeing the chat box. Okay, compiler. Let me just do one thing. Let me just share you the whiteboard. Is the whiteboard is visible for everyone? Please do respond. Is the whiteboard is visible? I want the confirmation from your side. Okay. If the whiteboard is visible for everyone, means I'll just do one thing. Assume that this happens to be you people, or I can just tell it as developer. Developer. Okay, I want everyone attention. Observe properly. As a developer, don't you think you will be writing the code in which language? Please do respond. You will be writing the code in which language? Do you think in 2021, will you be writing the code in machine level language, or will you be writing the code in assembly level language, or will you be writing the code in high level language? Forget about Python, Java, all those things. I'm just asking the style. In which style you'll be writing in 2021 when it comes to programming language? Please do respond. Don't you think you will be writing the code in high level language? Yes or no, high level language? Now, technically, whatever the code that you people will be writing is only in the industry, they will call it as source code. Is that fine? What it will be called as? It will be called as source code. Now, assume that you have written some piece of code. I'll just tell this happens to be the piece of code that you have written. Assume that you have written some 4 lines of code. Fine. Here also, I have written some 4 lines of code. When it comes to converting the high level language into machine level language, 2 softwares are prominently used. Sir, which are those 2 softwares, sir? It is pretty simple. I want you to tell the answer for this one. Just observe here. Ultimately, whenever I want to get the output, guys, please tell me what is that, what I can tell, component that I have to use, what I have to use in order to get the output. I'm just seeing your chat box. What I have to use? Oh, very good. No. Just to get the output. What I have to use? Don't you think I have to take the help of microprocessor? Yes or no? I have to take the help of microprocessor. That is MuP. I can just tell this happens to be microprocessor. Microprocessor. Now tell me, this microprocessor will understand what kind of language? I want you to respond. Microprocessor will understand what kind of language? Binary language. Binary language. That is nothing but zeros and ones. Zeros and ones. Ultimately, whatever the code that you are writing will be in what? High level language. But whenever you want to get the output from the microprocessor, you have to give the input in the form of what? Zeros and ones. Please do respond. Zeros and ones are technically called as what? What kind of language? Zeros and ones are technically called as what? A binary. That's fine. But what kind of language is it? I don't think it's a machine level language. Machine level language. I hope if I write MLL, each and everyone are in a position to understand. Now tell me, whenever you want to give the input to this particular microprocessor, first of all, don't you think the code should be loaded on where? RAM. Will you agree with my point? The code should be loaded on the RAM. I'll just tell this happens to be the RAM, and I'll just tell this happens to be the RAM. What is RAM? It's a random access memory. I'll just tell this is RAM. Here I'll just tell this happens to be RAM. The code should be placed on RAM. Now tell me in which format the code should be placed on RAM. That is very important. That you tell me. In which format the code should be placed on the RAM? I don't think the code should be placed on RAM in the form of what? Machine level language. Ultimately, that's what you are going to give for microprocessor. I will tell 1001, next 0011, 0011, 0001, something like that. Observe properly. This particular machine level language code is what should be loaded on RAM. Okay, sir, which software will be used, sir, in order to load all those things that I will take care of. Don't worry about that. But you people should be clearly aware of there is one software which is used to convert the high level language into machine level language code. I will just tell this happens to be the machine level language code. Here also, this happens to be the machine level language code. Ultimately, this microprocessor and RAM will be interconnected. This microprocessor and RAM will be interconnected. And maybe the machine level language code will be given to microprocessor. You'll be seeing the output. Now, my question is very simple. How this high level language code would be converted into machine level language in the first case? Second case, how this high level language code would be converted into machine level language code? If you just ask me, 2 softwares will come into picture. 2 softwares will come into picture. Okay, sir, which are those 2 softwares, sir? First software happens to be compiler. Compiler. Is that clear? Could you please tell me the spelling of compiler is correct? Yes or no? Compiler. Is that correct? Now, is that correct? Now is that correct? Okay, great. Next, one more software will come into picture. Sir, what is that software, sir? That software name happens to be Interpreter. Interpreter. Is that fine? I hope you people are in a position to understand. First software name happens to be compiler. Second software name happens to be interpreter. Is that clear? Is the spelling of interpreter is correct? Okay, fine. Now observe properly. Sir, what is the duty of this compiler, sir? The duty of this compiler is to convert this high-level language code into which code, if you ask me? Ultimately, it will be converting the code in the form of what? Machine level language. Here, I'll just tell this happens to be machine level language code. Here also, the duty of interpreter is to convert the given code into machine level language code. And next, ultimately, this machine level language code, whatever a compiler would have generated, will be loaded on RAM. Using a software. Sir, what is the name of the software, sir? The name of the software happens to be Loader. Using Loader, the machine level language code will be loaded on RAM. Same thing here also, whatever the machine level language code which got generated by interpreter will be loaded on RAM using a software called as Loader. Okay, sir, everything whatever you told is correct, sir. High level language will be converted into machine level language code will be loaded on the RAM. From RAM it will be given to microprocessor. From microprocessor we will be getting the output. Same thing when it comes to the here machine level language code, high level language code will be converted into machine level language code by interpreter and it will be loaded on the RAM. Next, from RAM it will be given to microprocessor. From microprocessor we'll be getting the output. Sir, then what is the difference between compiler and interpreter, sir? The duty of compiler is to convert high level language code into machine level. Same when it comes to interpreter, it will convert the high level language code into machine level. The only one difference happens to be compiler. What it will do, if you ask me, compiler will take this complete code in a single shot. Is that clear? Compiler will take this complete code in a single shot and it will convert it into machine level language code in a single shot. See here, in a single shot it will convert. Is that clear? Compiler will take all the code in a single shot. That means at once it will take all the code, it will convert it into machine level language code in a single shot. So then what about interpreter, sir? Interpreter will not work like that. Rather than interpreter, first line it will take, first line it will generate, second line it will take, second line it will generate. Next, it will take the third line, it will generate the third line. It will take the fourth line, it will generate the fourth line. That means line by line execution will happen. Is that clear, guys? Please do respond. First line, second line, third line, fourth line. Like this, line by line execution will happen when it comes to interpreter. Yeah, sorry for that. Please do respond. Right now, if someone is asking you to tell the definition of compiler or interpreter, what would be your definition? Please do respond. Assume that I'm asking you the definition of a compiler or interpreter. What you will tell? Don't you think compiler is a system software which converts high-level language code into machine-level language code in a single shot? Will you agree with my point? Guys, please do respond. Compiler is a system software which converts high-level language code into machine-level language code in a single shot. So then what about interpreter, sir? Interpreter is a system software which converts high-level language code into machine-level language code by executing line by line. Is that clear? Please do respond. Is that clear for everyone? I want a very quick response from your side. Okay. Just do one thing. Just take down the screenshot of this diagram number 1. Just a minute. I'm going to highlight the diagram number 1. Please take the screenshot of diagram number 1. Just give me 1 minute of time. What is this process called as? I want each one of you to tell this. What is this process called as? What is the above process called as? Don't you think it is doing compilation? That's the reason I can just tell this happens to be compilation. Next, what is the below process called as? What is the below process called as? Please do respond. Interpreter software is involved. That is the reason I can just call it as interpretation. Is that clear for everyone? Please do respond. Is that clear? First process is technically called as what? Compilation. Second process is called as what? Interpretation. Please take the screenshot of this diagram. Hope that you have taken the screenshot of this diagram. Guys, you should be very quick in taking the screenshot. No one I'm telling. Next, let me just share you the notes. Day 2. Observe whatever I have explained is what I'm writing here. See here, what I have written. In order to convert a high-level code, that is high-level language code, into machine-level language code, we have two system softwares. We have, okay, if I write like this, some of them will not understand. We have two system softwares. First one, compiler. Second one, interpreter. Diagram number 1, please write that. And definition of compiler as well as interpreter. Is that clear? Please do respond. Is that clear for everyone? Shall I proceed? I want a genuine response from your side. Is that clear for everyone? Shall I proceed further? If your answer is yes, I'll proceed. Okay, great. Now my question is very important. Whatever the question that I'll be asking, it's a most frequently asked interview question. Please tell me, is Python a compiled language or interpreted programming language? Please do respond. Is Python a compiled language or interpreted programming language? Okay. I'm just seeing your answers. Because I made the chat as private. Why? Because it will disturb others. That's the reason. We'll see how many of them will tell the right answer. My question is pretty simple, right? Is Python a compiled language or interpreted programming language? Okay. How many of them will tell compiled? Just tell me yes. Okay. Many of them are telling compiled, interpreted. I think few of them are telling both. Okay. Fine. Very good. Okay. That's great. Okay. Observe properly. Instead of me telling the answer, I will explain the topic. Later, you should tell me the answer. Will that be fine? I'll just teach you the topic. That means I'll just teach you what will happen in Python. Then you just tell me whether it is compiled or interpreted programming language. Okay. I'll just share you the screen. I hope that you have taken the screenshot of diagram number 1. Let me just share you the diagram number 2. This is diagram number 2. Just give me some time. Okay. If it is a Python file, assume that initially as a developer, please tell me in which language you will be writing the code. Okay. Don't you think as a developer, you'll be writing your code in high-level language? Okay, that's true. And next, please tell me, ultimately, if you're writing the code in high-level language, that doesn't matter. If you want to see the output, the code should be executed from microprocessor. Now tell me, this microprocessor will understand what kind of language? Machine level language. Through this microprocessor, you should be able to see the output. That's what you have learned. That is true. 100% that is true. Now my question is, the code should be loaded on the RAM. I'll just tell this happens to be the RAM. I will tell this happens to be the RAM. Within this RAM, the code should be written in the form of machine level language. So how this machine level language will look like, sir? Assume this happens to be the machine level language. I'll just tell 1100, 0011, 0101. Next 1010. Simply I'm just writing the random data. Okay. Observe properly. Internally, this particular RAM and microprocessor will be connected. If you provide this particular machine level language code to the microprocessor, you'll be able to get the output. There is no doubt in that. Now my question is pretty simple. You will be writing the code in which language? High level language. Assume that you have written the code, 4 lines of code like this. In which language? Python. If it is a Python file, please tell me what will be the extension? There will be an extension, right? If you save a text file .txt, if you save a image .png, if you save a video .mp4, like that, if you save any Python file, assume that the name of the Python file happens to be demo. The extension happens to be .py. Is that clear? The extension happens to be .py. Sir, what will happen, sir? Observe properly. I'm going to explain you the macro view, not the micro view. Micro view, as on the time comes, I'll be speaking. Macro view means I'll be explaining the overview of that, how the things will work. Fine. Initially, this high-level language code will be taken by a software. Okay, sir, what is the software name, sir? The software name happens to be Python compiler. It is not a compiler. Guys, no one I'm telling, it is not a compiler. It is Python compiler. Is that clear? I want everyone to respond. What is the name of the software? Please do respond. What is the name of the software? Python compiler. Is that clear? And now, the duty of Python compiler is to take this complete high-level language code in a single shot, and it will not convert the code into machine level language. Rather, it will convert the code in which format, sir? If you ask me, it will convert the code in the form of bytecode. Guys, if it was a compiler, 100% it could have converted from high level language to what? Machine level language. But there is a twist in the story. This Python compiler will not convert the high level language code into machine level language code. There is a reason for that. Instead, what will happen? It will convert the given high level language code in a single shot to what? Bytecode. Sir, what is this bytecode, sir? Bytecode is a combination of high level code plus machine level language code. Is that fine? Bytecode is a combination of high level language code plus machine level language code. Why it will convert into the form of machine level language code plus high level language code, that I will take care going ahead. Now observe properly. In a single shot, it has been converted. Next, one more software will come into picture. Sir, what is the name of the software, sir? The name of the software happens to be what? Python interpreter. See here, the name of the software happens to be Python interpreter. Everyone, please do repeat the software name. What is the name of the software? I want you to repeat. What is the name of the software? Python interpreter. The duty of Python interpreter. See here. Here, how many lines of code are there? 4 lines. I can just write like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. Python interpreter. One software will be free. That is, if you just ask me which is the Python interpreter that will be used, if you ask me, I can just tell PVM. Sir, what is the full form of PVM, sir? I'll just write it here. See here. Python virtual machine. Is that clear? PVM, Python virtual machine, that means PVM will be acting as what? Python interpreter. The duty of Python interpreter is to convert the given bytecode into machine level language code, and it will be loaded on the RAM. Is that clear? Now, one simple question I'll be asking. The basic nature of interpreter already people would have learned. Now tell me, in a single shot, this bytecode will be converted, or it will be converted line by line? That you tell me. Line by line or in a single shot? Very good. Line by line. First line, second line, third line, fourth line. That means line by line, execution will happen. Now tell me, if you just look at this particular phase, what is this phase called as? Just now I have told in the previous diagram. What is this phase called as? Compilation phase. Next, what is this phase called as? Please do respond. Very good. Don't you think I can just tell interpretation? Now, by seeing these two things, in the interview, if they're asking, what kind of language is Python? Is that compiled or interpreted? From the execution point of view, guys, technically it is called as what? Execution point of view. This is execution point of view. I'll just write it here. Execution point of view. That is very important. From the execution point of view, Python is what kind of language? I want you to tell the answer. From the execution point of view, what kind of language is Python? Only from execution point of view. Just see here. That's it. That's the reason I have written here. From execution point of view, it is interpreted programming language from execution point of view. But if you consider the complete scenario, please tell me, what kind of language is Python? It is both compiled and interpreted programming language. Yes or no? It is both compiled and interpreted. Technically, I can tell hybrid programming language. It is hybrid programming language. Please do respond. I want a response from everyone. Python is both compiled and interpreted programming language. But in interview, if they're asking, you should be very clear in that. Sir, from the execution point of view, it is interpreted programming language. Maybe if you just check it out in the internet, you will be getting the answer as what? Interpreted programming language. That is true, correct? 100% that is true. Why? Because from the execution point of view, it is interpreted. But internally, these things will happen. 100% I'm going to show you in the class how py file will be converted into .pyc file. .pyc file. That I will show you. Is that fine? Please do respond. How py file will be converted into .pyc file, that means compiled file. I'm going to show you that. But this is how the nature of Python. Now tell me, how many of them are able to understand? Technically, this bytecode, some of them might be calling it as bytecode, or just give me a minute. You can just call it as bytecode or intermediate code. Intermediate code. You can just tell it as what? Don't worry, I'm going to show you where PYC file will be stored. Bytecode or intermediate code. Is that clear? Bytecode or intermediate code. How many of them are able to understand? Please do respond. How many of them are able to understand? Okay. Here I can write compiler. Sorry, no need to write. Why? Because already I have written. Now let me just do one thing. Please take the screenshot of this. I want each one of you to take the screenshot of this one. Take the screenshot. Okay. I hope that you have taken the screenshot. Have you taken the screenshot? Okay, great. Diagram number 2. Let me just share you the notes. There is day 2. Now, in the interview, they're asking, is Python a compiled language or interpreted programming language? What will be your answer? At least after explaining, what will be your answer? Python is both compiled language and interpreted language. In other words, it's a hybrid programming language. From the execution point of view, Python is interpreted programming language. Is that clear? And you people should write the diagram. That is diagram number 2 is what you have to write. Diagram number 2. Okay. Now, everyone please observe the diagram, whatever you have taken. Meanwhile, I'm going to take the attendance of this class. Okay, sir, how are you going to take the attendance, sir? Already I have taken the screenshot of the attendees that are attending the session. But everyone, I hope everyone will be having your name. I think you have registered your name, correct, right? You have filled the Google form. In the Google form, the name will be recorded. Whatever the name that you have given in the Google form, please do respond in the chat box. You have to just tell your name, that's it. Redmi, I'm going to remove you from the meeting. Although after telling simply, if you just keep the same thing, I'm going to remove you from the meeting. Sorry for that. Sorry, Redmi. Tata, bye-bye. Okay. I want each one of you to tell your name. Each one of you. Because when it comes to issuing the certificate, attendance plays a vital role. Already I have told you. That's the reason. Okay, great. Ambika, could you please text me in WhatsApp? I think you are aware of my WhatsApp number, right? Please do text me in WhatsApp, Ambika, so that I'll just give you that form. It's okay, fine. If you have given your full name or no issues. 100% I have written a program in such a way that if you would have assumed that your name is Priyanka something, if you tell me Priyanka, it will just search and it will mark the attendance. Don't worry. Okay. That's great, guys. Now tell me, how many of them are able to understand the two concepts whatever I have explained? First concept happens to be conversion of high-level language into machine-level language. Two softwares will come into picture. Next, is Python a compiled or interpreted? How many of them are able to understand? Please do respond by saying yes or no. Please be very quick. Okay, great. Next, one more question I'm going to ask. We'll see how many of them will tell the answer. Are you people aware of a C program? Maybe if you're from engineering background, 100%, damn sure it's the biggest nightmare for you, right? Including me at that point of time. Everyone would have gone through C, correct, right? It's a very difficult phase, is what I can tell. Keeping those things in mind, tell me, Python is slow or C is slow? Which one is slow? 100% is Python is slow. That's the reason the question says why Python is relatively slow. Relatively means when compared to C, a small amount. That's it. Microsecond is what I can tell. Not even microsecond, macrosecond. Fine. Why Python is relatively slow when compared to C? Anyone? Please tell me what is the reason for that. Okay, we'll see. I'm just seeing your answers. Okay, great. Okay, I'm going to write the diagram number 3 so that easily we'll understand why Python is relatively slow when compared to C. Observe properly. Let me just share you the whiteboard. Here I'm going to consider diagram number 3. That is D3 is what I will tell. Next. Okay, diagram number 3. Observe properly. When it comes to Python, how many phase will happen? Like compilation and execution. How many phase will happen? I want a quick response from your side. 2 phase, correct, right? See here, what will happen? Assume that this happens to be the Python code. See here, this is Python code. Maybe I'll just tell high level language code. Assume that you have written some 4 lines of code. Now what happened for this? Okay, assume that you have written some 3 lines of code. See here, it's a Python file. Okay, how come I'll be telling it's a Python file? How come? How come? Maybe simply if you write the heading as Python. No. How come I'll be getting to know that it's a Python file? Just now I have told. What is the extension? .py. I'll just tell the file name happens to be demo.py. Next, this particular demo.py will be given to one software. What is the software name? Just now I have told. I'm expecting you to tell the answer. What is the software name? Just now I have told. Simply you should not tell compiler. Simply you should never tell compiler. What is that? Complete name you should tell. A Python compiler. A Python compiler. Okay. Next, from this Python compiler, it will generate what? What kind of code it will generate? Just now I have told. Please be very quick. Guys, why it will generate bytecode, that I will take care. You don't worry about that. I'll just tell this happens to be the bytecode or intermediate code like this. Okay, great. Next, this particular bytecode would be given for another software. What is the name of the software? Very good. The name of the software happens to be what? Python interpreter. Python interpreter. Okay. What will be used as Python interpreter? What will be used as Python interpreter? Just now I have told the short form of that. PVM, Python virtual machine, PVM. Next, this PVM will provide the data to what? Where it will provide the data? Don't you think it will place the code on what? RAM. I can just tell this happens to be the RAM. On the RAM. How the data would be placed? That also you should tell me. How the data would be placed? In the form of machine level language. In the form of machine level language. I can just tell this happens to be RAM. Next, from RAM. Ultimately, it should be given for what? Ultimately, it should be given for what? Microprocessor. Next, from microprocessor, you'll be getting the output. That is how the things will work. Correct, right? This is microprocessor, and from here you'll be getting the output. I'll just write this happens to be the output. I think there is no space there. Please do adjust. Okay, great. Now, when it comes to Python, this is what the scenario. Now tell me, how many phases are involved? Don't you think 2 phases are involved? First phase is this one, compilation phase. Second phase is this one, that is interpreted phase or interpretation phase. But when it comes to C program, this will not be the case. Sir, then what will be the case, sir? Don't worry, I'll just tell you what will be the case, but observe properly. When it comes to C program, assume that you people will write a piece of code. Assume that this happens to be the 3 lines of code that you'll be writing in C. Please tell me, if it is a C program, 100% that is also high level language code, but what will be the extension? Demo.c will be the extension. Now tell me, ultimately that code should be given to microprocessor. That is true, but who will take the control? Do you think Python compiler will come into picture? 100% no. Sir, then what will come into picture, sir? C compiler will come into picture. Okay, sir, then what is the duty of this C compiler, sir? The duty of the C compiler is to directly generate what? Please do let me know. Directly generate what? I want the response from your side. Very good. Executable code, or technically you can call it as what? Machine level language code. It will generate the machine level language code, and using the support of loader, it will be loaded on the RAM. Next, from RAM, RAM and microprocessor are interconnected. I can just tell RAM and microprocessor will be interconnected, and from the microprocessor, ultimately we'll be getting the output. Now tell me, how many phases are involved just to get the output? How many phases? Okay, only one phase. Now tell me, I think already you got the answer, correct, right? I need not to explain. Already I have explained. Why? Because when it comes to Python, there are two phases. It has to compile, it has to interpret. Next, it has to give the machine level language code to the RAM. But when it comes to C, don't you think directly it will generate the machine level language code and it will be given to RAM through loader software? That's the reason when compared to C, Python is relatively slow. Is that clear? How many of them are able to understand? Please do respond. Are able to understand? I want a very quick response from your side. Okay. Take the screenshot of diagram number 3. Take the screenshot. Okay. If you have taken the screenshot of diagram number 3, let me just go back to the notes. In the notes, I'm going to give you the note point. Already I have explained, but in the form of note point, I'm going to give. Observe properly. In case of C programming language, if the high level language code is given to C compiler, then it will generate the machine level language code, which can be executed to get the output. But in case of Python programming, if the high level language code is given to Python compiler, then it will generate the bytecode. Later, that bytecode will be converted into machine level language code by PVM, that is Python interpreter, in order to get the output. That's why Python is relatively slow when compared to C. If the same question is being asked in the interview, how many of them are very confident that yes, sir, I'll be telling the answer? How many of them? At least for 3 minutes, I'll speak, sir. Simply I'll not tell Python is slow, sir. Python is slow. No, I will give them the clarity why Python is relatively slow. How many of them are confident? Guys, forget about whether you have a very good English or whether you have what I can tell, a complete grip on the English. That is secondary. At least are you able to convey the topic? That's very important. Okay, fine. Okay, shall I proceed for the next topic? If you just tell me, I'll just proceed for the next topic. Okay, great. Before writing the heading of the next topic, please observe properly. Let me just go here. I would like to tell this happens to be D4. I will tell D4. In case of properly comparison with Python or super fast than other languages, due to a available library, writing code to the end of the program. No. Ultimately, okay, one person is telling, sir, Python is very fast. Okay. How many of them are aware of the airbags that are there in the car? Please do respond. How many of them are aware of that? Airbags. Are aware of airbag? Okay. Now tell me, why that airbag will be used? If you met with an accident, within fraction of second, that particular airbag should open and it should safeguard you people. Correct, right? That's the reason it will be there. Don't you think using some embedded program, they would have written the code in such a way that if you touch wood, it should not happen. Simply, I'm just taking an example. That's it. If you met with an accident, within fraction of second, don't you think the airbag should open? There, speed matters. The 100% speed matters. And now tell me, there, do you think if I use Python also, it will what I can tell, blow the airbag or whatever it may be. But if you are a developer, you are aware of the speed when it comes to Python and C. Please tell me which one you will use, Python or C? C. Guys, why? Because it's a debatable topic. Fine. Uh, when you should go for Python, when you should go for C. When speed really matters a lot, then go for C. Fine. One more example I'll take. How many of them seen a rocket launching? How many of them would have seen? Okay. But don't you think they would have written a code in such a way that within fraction of second, the engine should start, it should ignite the fire, automatically it should go for sky. Correct? Right? That means in such a speed, there 100% the speed matters. Please tell me, there the embedded C will be used, yes or no? Do you think Python will be used or C will be used there? Which one you will prefer? Okay, guys, that's the reason it's a debatable topic, trust me. Yes, it depends. Fine. For example, you have car and you have bike. According to your convenience, you will choose whether you want to go in the car or bike. Correct, right? Sometimes, according to your convenience, maybe if you feel that you're lethargic or you're becoming fat, you'll just go for a walk. Correct, right? Based upon your requirement, guys. Okay, great. Now observe properly. The next topic, whatever I'm going to teach, is a pretty basic, but I don't know whether people are aware or not. And it is related to the next upcoming topics, whatever I'm going to teach. That's the reason. Listen carefully. First, initially, forget about this programming language, all those things. Initially, when they invented a language, fine, they have to keep some name for the language. Yes or no? They have to keep some name for the language. Anyone who are aware of which is the first language which got invented? Which is the first language? Not C. That is 100% not C. C is the first famous programming language. But I'm just asking you, which is the first language that got invented? COBOL. Before COBOL? Before COBOL? Okay, let me just ask you the question like this. Which is the first unstructured programming language? Which is the first unstructured programming language? Unstructured programming language. Sir, what do you mean by this unstructured, sir? Don't worry, I will explain. Why you'll worry about that? Unstructured programming language. Anyone? Which is the first unstructured programming language? The first unstructured programming language happens to be Fortran Basic. Is that fine? What is the name, guys? Please do respond. What is the name? Fortran Basic. Is that clear? The name of that programming language, which is unstructured, that happens to be what? Fortran Basic. Okay, sir, why you are explaining all these things, sir? 100% I'm going to compare these things. That is the reason. Please tell me, which was the famous structured programming language? Which was the famous structured programming language? I want you to respond right now. I think just now you told the answer, right? Which was the famous structured programming language? Very good. The famous structured programming language happens to be C. Is that fine? C happens to be the famous programming language. Okay. Next, please do respond. what is the necessity of inventing a structured programming language? Already they were using unstructured style of programming language, right? What was the necessity of inventing the structured programming language? And what are the disadvantages associated with unstructured programming language is what I'm going to tell. Observe properly. First, when it comes to unstructured programming style, assume that they want to perform addition, fine. At that point of time, like this, they used to perform. See here, I'll just consider if they want to perform addition, what they used to do, they used to write some piece of code, yes or no? If you want to perform some addition, they used to write some piece of code within this a code here, like this, they used to write some piece of code. I'm just writing some dash, 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 that's it, you have to understand. If you want to perform addition, like this. Next, if they want to perform subtraction, again, what they used to do, they used to write some piece of code, and they used to do subtraction. Guys, I'm just taking the example just to make sure that you'll understand the concept in a very better manner. Next, again, if they want to perform addition, they were not reusing this particular code. Instead, what they were doing, if you ask me, they used to write the code for addition once again. Is that clear? They used to write the code for addition once again. They were not reusing the code. Is that clear for everyone? Please do respond. When it comes to unstructured manner of a programming language, initially they used to write the code in what? Addition. For addition, they used to write the code. For subtraction, they used to write the code. Once again, for addition, instead of reusing this code, whatever they have written, no, they were writing the code from scratch. Now tell me, if you write the code from scratch, don't you think no code reusability will be there? No code reusability, yes or no? No code reusability. And don't you think it's a complex process? How many of them will agree with my point? This is what the disadvantage associated with unstructured programming language. No code reusability, complex, and very important, time consuming. Okay. Now tell me, this is what the disadvantage associated with what? Unstructured style of programming language. That is the reason they have invented something called as structured programming language. Okay, sir, how they used to write the code in structured programming language, sir? Instead of writing the code like this, okay, you want to perform addition, that's fine. You just do one thing like this. You write the code to perform addition. Assume that this is what the piece of code that they need to write for addition. But while writing this code, simply they were not writing, rather they used to write that piece of code within a function. Is that clear? Within a function, they used to write the piece of code. I can just tell the function name. Simply, I'm just writing add, and they used to store the data in the form of function. So here, like this, they used to store. Just for your reference, I have written like this. Okay. How many of them are able to understand? Please do respond. Are people able to understand? Similarly, when it comes to subtraction, assume that they want to perform subtraction, right? They used to write the piece of code like this. Same thing, they used to write the piece of code like this. Some name they used to give to perform addition. See here, to perform addition, that's what they used to do. Next, if they want to perform subtraction, they used to write the code in the form of functions. Technically, these things are only called as what? Functions. I can just call it as functions, as these things, whatever I have written, right? These things are only referred as functions, or some of them might call it as subprograms, or some of them might be called it as procedures. Is that clear? I want a very quick response from your side. Is that clear? The style of writing the code in the form of a function is only called as what? Functions, a program, or procedure. Assume that again there is a situation where they have to use the code for addition. They want to perform addition. At that point of time, once again, they will not write the code. Rather, what they will do, they will create a main function. Like this. I'll just tell this happens to be the main function. I can just tell this is for addition, subtraction. This is the main program. I can just tell main program. They'll create a main program. Within this main program, they will create a main function. I'll just tell this happens to be the main function. Observe properly. Everyone, observe. They will create a main function. Within this main function, what they will do, they will call the function which is written for performing addition operation. Please tell me, what is the function name which is used to perform addition? What is the function name? If they call that function, automatically it will be called. That is the reason they have given the name. What is the function name? Very good. Add function. They will call like this. Assume that they want to perform subtraction. They will call sub function. Again, they want to perform addition. They will call add function. Again, they want to perform addition. They will call add function. Like this, irrespective of how many times you want to do, or else how many times you want to perform the operation, they'll just keep on calling the particular function name. Yes or no? Now tell me, every time if you call, first time add function got called, then what will happen, sir? This particular add function will be called. See here, you're calling the add function. Next, line number 2 will be executed. You're calling sub function. Again, you're calling add function. Again, you're calling add function. You're not writing the code again and again. You're reusing the code. Is that clear? You are reusing the code. And now tell me, this style of writing, please tell me, do you think code reusability is there? Yes or no? I want a genuine response from your side. Do you think code reusability is there? %. That means what I can write is, see here, I can just completely copy this. I would like to paste it here. When it comes to C, code reusability is there. It is simple. I can just say it is simple, and it is not time consuming. These are the advantages of C. Sir, is there any disadvantage, sir? 100% there is one disadvantage. That is the reason they have invented something else apart from structured programming language. Right now in 2021, we are using something else. What is that? That is what I'm going to teach right now. Observe properly. Code reusability is there. Very good. Next, simple. That is also very good. Not time consuming. That is also very good. But there is one disadvantage. Sir, what is the disadvantage, sir? When it comes to C, at that point of time, I'm not speaking about right now. At that point of time, maybe initially when they invented the new programming style, C was not secured. Is that fine? Yes, please do respond. C was not secured. Sir, why, sir? Why? Because, observe properly. If they declare any variable, assume that they will declare some variable called as A and B. Fine. Now tell me, this both A and B will be accessible by both the programs. If they declare A, B within main function, don't you think this A and B will be accessible by addition function as well as subtraction function? How many of them will agree with my point? Yes or no? There is no security for this particular data if I declare. Right? That is the reason it is not secured. That is the reason instead of using C at that point of time, they invented something. Sir, what is that, sir? That style of writing the code happens to be object-oriented programming language. Object-oriented programming language. Is that clear for everyone? Please do respond. Object-oriented programming language. Could you please tell me the example for object-oriented programming language at that point of time? Right now, you can tell Java, Python, all those things. That is fine. But when they invented, which was the famous object-oriented programming language? Don't you think the famous object-oriented programming language happens to be C++? Okay, great. Observe properly. Right now, when it comes to C++, how they used to write the code, sir? If you ask me, it is very simple. If you want to perform addition, here also same. What they used to do, they used to write the code like this here. Assume that you want to perform addition, right? They used to write the code like this, where I can just tell this happens to be the piece of code for addition. And they used to give the name for the function. I can just tell the name of the function happens to be add function, I will tell. Next, if they want to perform subtraction, they used to write the code like this. And they used to give the name for the function. I can just tell the name of the function happens to be sub function. Just for explanation purpose, I'm just taking add sub, that's it. Now, they want to give the access of this a and b. They want to give the access of this a and b variable only for add function, but it should not be given for sub function. Guys, these particular two variables are there, right? A and B, A and B. The access of A and B variables should be given only for add function, not for sub function. Then what they used to do, they used to create, or they used to make this add function and these variables to be present within an object. Is that clear? They will create an object, they will make that function to be there within that object, and they'll just make that variable to be accessible only for that function. So what about sub function, sir? Sub function, see here, this particular add function is trying to access a, b, 100%, we will provide the access. But if the sub function is trying to access a and b, don't you think we can restrict the access? How many of them will agree with my point? We can restrict the access. Yes or no? Please do respond. Yeah, 100% we can restrict the access. Now tell me, when it comes to object-oriented programming language, same thing. Code reusability is there, simple, not time consuming. One more point you have to tell. What is that? Please do respond. One more point I have to tell. It is secured. Sir, how it is secured? All those things going ahead, I will teach. Why you'll worry about that? You just worry about the style, unstructured, structure, why there is a necessity to invent unstructured, why there is a necessity to invent structured, why there is a necessity to invent object oriented. That's what you have to concentrate at this point of time. Okay, sir, everything was a plus point. For C++ at that point of time. It was code reusable, simple, less time consuming, secured. So then why people are using Python and Java, sir? Why not C++ at that point of time? I'm just speaking at that point of time. Why? Because observe properly. Yeah, this particular is also called as, you can just call this function as subprograms or procedures or whatever it may be. Here we'll not call it as procedures, we'll just call it as functions. Sir, is there any disadvantage associated with C++, sir? 100% is. Sir, what is the disadvantage, sir? The disadvantage happens to be, it is the C++ at that point of time I'm speaking, it is platform dependent. Is that clear? I want you to respond. At that point of time, C++ was what? Platform dependent. This was the biggest disadvantage of C++. That's the reason the developer, as a developer, I'll just tell, see here, as a developer, I can just tell he's a developer, I'll tell. As a developer, initially, they were writing the code in unstructured manner, later structured manner. Nowadays, in the object-oriented approach, instead of C, they started to use other programming language. Okay, sir, which are those other programming languages, sir? I can just put it as Python, or it may be Java. Like this, I can just keep on telling the names. Is that clear? Why people are not using C++? Why people are using Python, Java is what I have to speak next. That means platform. What is platform dependent? What is platform independent? All those things I have to speak. Is that clear? Please do respond. Is that clear? Okay, great. Now tell me, how many of them are able to understand whatever I have explained? That means initially they have written the code in which style? Unstructured programming style. Next, structured programming style. Next, object-oriented programming style. What is the disadvantage of C++? It is platform dependent. I have not explained what is platform dependent. 100% I'm going to explain what is platform dependent. And is Python a platform dependent or not is what I'm going to explain next. But as of now, how many of them are able to understand this particular thing? Please do respond. Okay, fine. Please do take the screenshot of this diagram. Please take the screenshot of this. I want each one of you to take the screenshot. Okay. Have you taken the screenshot, each one of you? Okay. If you would have taken the screenshot, let me just do one thing. Let me just share you the notes. That is day two. Day two. Observe properly. Okay. The heading, if you just ask me, sir, what is the heading? I can just tell evolution of high-level programming language. All those things are high-level programming language. It might be unstructured, it might be structured, it might be object-oriented. All those things are high-level programming language. Evolution, that means from time to time what happened. That's what I have explained. I can just consider this happens to be diagram number 4. Okay. Is that clear for everyone? Please do respond. Is that clear? How many of them are able to understand? Okay, great. Okay. Fine. That's great. And let me just ask few questions related to course, not related to the topics, whatever I have taught. Please don't get exited from the session. Listen properly. Okay, why? Because some of them are having the doubt. Do you think this particular course will be on weekday or weekend? Only on Saturday, Sunday? Weekday or weekend? Weekend. I think the meaning of weekend already people are aware. Saturday and Sunday. What is the timings of this course? At what time it will start? Now, ending time, I will decide. That I will decide based upon the topic. It is purely based upon the topic. Why? Because as a trainer, this is my, I think more than 35 to 40 batches I have taken. More than 1,000 students I have taught when it comes to Python. I think it will cross around 10,000, more than 10,000. Okay. Exactly at 7 o'clock it will start. Ending time, I will decide. Okay. You don't worry about that. Okay, fine. And do you think I'll be giving the certificate for this course? Just tell me yes or no. Yes. What is the condition for that? I'll not be giving any test and all. Why? Because ultimately, I know if I give some test, you'll copy. What is the condition for that? Attendance. What's the minimum attendance that I'm expecting? 60%. At least as a trainer, can I expect 60% from your side? Maybe if you miss the class, 100% knowledge is very important. That is secondary. But ultimately, you have to show that certificate, right? That you have done this course and all. That's the reason. And a brochure. I think already I have told you the content, whatever I'll be teaching. Next, apart from that, what is the main thing? Please do respond. And one more thing I have told when it comes to this particular course. Please tell me what is it that I have told. Please do respond. What is it that I have told? How many days the course is for free of cost? Guys, this course is not completely free of cost. That's for sure. For how many days it's free of cost? For 1 month. For 1 month. 1 month. It's free. It's free. Is that fine? Now observe properly. 1 month means how many days? How many days you will get? That means how many classes? Hardly 8 days. 8 days. That means 8 weeks. That means 4 weekends. You don't have to pay a single rupee for that. Correct, right? Okay. And one more thing, please tell me. When it comes to recorded session, I think everyone are aware of our website. If you people are not aware of our website name happens to be www.studyonlinetech.com. Studyonlinetech.com. That's what our website. And we do have a mobile application. The mobile application name happens to be Study Online. If you just want me to send the mobile application link, just ping me in WhatsApp. This is my WhatsApp number. Please ping me. I'll just send you that. Okay. Please do respond. If you miss the class, guys, this is for damn sure. I'm going to give this 1 month for free of cost. It's a live class. Live class. If you attend live class for 1 month, it is free of cost. No need to pay a single rupee for that. And live class plus I'll be giving the access for notes. Today itself, I'll just create a Google Drive. In the Google Drive link, I'll be uploading the notes. If you miss the class, what is the option that I have told? Please do respond. Either through our application, either through our mobile application, mobile app, or you can download the app, or through our website. You have to just create your username, password, and easily you can access our content, Yes or no? Easily you can access our content. You can go through our website or mobile application, and usually you can access our content. Now what I'll do, this is for recorded content. Please tell me, when it comes to recorded, initially if I give it for 1 month, fine, how many hours of content I would have given? Don't you think minimum 30 hours of content I would have given? 30 to 40 hours of content. When it comes to live class, it doesn't matter for me. But when it comes to recorded content, trust me guys, even I have to pay the amount for that recorded data. That means if I upload some data, if you watch, let's best example, let me just take a Netflix. Let us just take Netflix or Amazon Prime. Do you think they'll be providing for free of cost? Yes or no? Please do respond. When it comes to Netflix, Amazon Prime, or Hotstar, or whatever it may be, fine. They'll be uploading the films. You have to watch the film. You will be consuming the data. Correct, right? 100% they're not going to provide it for free of cost. Same thing will be applicable for me also. That means if I upload some a GB of data, at that point of time, 100% it will cost me. Fine. Maybe if you just take the complete Python course, it will cost me around 1.7K to 1.8K. That means if a person enroll for Python full stack, sorry, a Python weekend batch, the complete, if you finish the course, it will cost me around 1.7 to 1.8K just for that particular cloud storage, as well as the charges for that website. That's the reason I'm not expecting you to pay that amount. If you attend a live class for 1 month, it is for free of cost. No need to pay a single rupee for me. Live class plus notes access I will give. Sir, what after 1 month, sir? The duration, whatever I have told, is what? 3 to 4 months, yes or no? Minimum 3 months, maximum 4 months. I'll not be taking 4 months and all, but 3 to 4 months, a buffer time is what I have told. First month, no need to pay a single rupee. But if you just ask me the complete course fee structure, okay, let me just give you the option for you people. Please tell me if you inquire in the outside market. Fine. I'll just tell you what are the disadvantage of offline, all those things. Please tell me, what is the course fee? Anyone for Python? What is the course fee? Why? Because you would have inquired, right? That's the reason I'm asking. Okay, 20,000. Okay, next. 25,000. Okay, next. Okay. 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 Okay, sir, in something 56,000. Okay, 30,000. Okay. Okay, 1,000 rupees, 500 rupees. It based upon the content, whatever they're going to deliver. That's very important. And from whom you'll be learning. That's also very important. And the projects that we will be doing in the class. Okay. Sir, our college is taking 10K, 5K. Okay, fine. Okay, great. Now, when it comes to content, I'll not compromise, and I'll be teaching you 2 real-time projects, and I'll be giving you the idea for 5 real-time projects, whatever I have told. And I think 2 days of time is sufficient for you to go for the recorded content. If you are attending live session, no need to pay a single rupee till a month. You can attend without any haphazards. I'll not be calling you people so that you can just attend. Fine, no issues. I'm not going to force you to join this course or not. But if you want the recorded content, fine. At that point of time, I should be getting the clarity. Correct, right? After a month, yeah, 100% I'm going to give a receipt for your fee, and I'm going to give a certificate for that. You don't worry about that. Listen properly. Initially, everyone, maybe if you want a recorded access for 1 month of class, whatever I'll be doing, whatever the content I'll be uploading on our website, first of all, tell me what is the amount that I have to keep. Let me just ask. Already I have something in my mind. What you want me to keep for Python? That one weekend batch. How much amount you want me to keep? Yes, already I have decided. But let me just ask you people. Okay. At least respond. See here, for a Python, after 1 month, you need to pay this. If you are really interested to take up the course, if not, there is no force in that. It's up to your visual, because already I would have got the content of 1 month. A Python weekend batch, a core Python plus advanced Python is what I'm going to teach here. See here, when it comes to here, I'm going to teach core Python plus advanced Python plus 2 real-time project. If you consider all these things, the course fee happens to be, let me just consider this. Okay. I'll just tell 3,999 is what the course fees that I'm planning to keep for this particular batch. Please do respond. How many of them are able to understand or see? The course fee happens to be 3,999. That means 3,999. Approximately, you can just take it as 4,000. You need not to pay a single rupee until a month. Fine. If you are attending a live session, no, sir, I want the access for recorded content now itself. Maybe from day one itself, day one, day two, maybe today's session, yesterday's session, I'll be giving you for free of cost. But next week onwards, if you want the access for recorded content, at that point of time, you have to do your admission by paying 1,000 rupees. Is that fine? Please do tell me at least how many of them are able to understand. For recorded, you have to do your admission by paying 1,000 rupees. After a month, I'm just asking you mathematics, why? Because I'm very weak in mathematics. Please tell me, assume that you have paid 1,000 rupees, right? After a month, if you really want to get admitted to the class, or if you want to do the admission for this Python weekend batch, how much you have to pay? The remaining, please tell me how much you have to pay. Again, you need not to pay 4,000. At that point of time, you have to pay 2,999. That's it. Is that clear? Put together, it will be a 3,999. That's the reason. If you want the recorded access, no, sir, I'll be watching the recorded content. At that point of time, you have to do your admission by paying 1,000. No, sir, I'll be attending 1 month live. Later, I'll be taking the recorded, sir. That's up to your wish. And now tell me, after a month, if you want the access for both live and recorded content, please tell me what is the amount that you have to pay after a month. The one I'm telling, after a month, what is the amount that you have to pay? After a month. Is that clear? Okay. Right now, if you want to attend the live session, attend, no issues. Fine. You need not to pay a single rupee for that. Thus, I think 3,999, approximately 4,000. It's not a very big deal. Fine. And nobody gonna give you this course for this much amount. And the content matters. If some of them are giving for 1,000, 1,500, or some of them are giving for 100, you just check the content and you just see the quality of teaching. That's very important. Correct, right? Please do respond yes or no. Okay, and one more thing, I'll be giving you the certificate and I'll be taking you the mock interviews. Like I'll prepare you guys like how to answer in the interviews. I don't know whether you people are observing or not. In each and every topic, don't you think I'm just telling you how to express or how to convey the topic to the interviewer? Yes or no? If you just take some small topic, don't you think I'm just saying that? Okay, fine. And I'll be taking the mock interviews and after 1 month will be live class or recorded. Live. Guys, this complete batch is live batch. Fine, complete batch is live batch. But some of them will be missing the class because of some emergencies, because of some party, all those things. Correct? Why? Because we can write, I can understand. That's the reason. That's the reason I'm asking. I'm just telling. Is that clear? Yes, after a month, 100% everyone will be getting the access for recorded if you pay this amount. If not, ultimately you got the content of 1 month. Yeah, weekly it will be having. And sometimes I told you, right, I might take 2 hours or 2.5 hours based upon the content. That's what I'm telling. Is there any doubt for anyone? Please do let me know. Apart from this, let us just clarify all your doubts. Please do tell me in the chat box. Maybe if you have any sort of doubt. We do have a weekday batch. Please do contact me. Yeah, 100%. Guys, if you have doubts, please contact me 24/7. Fine. Whenever I see your message, 100% I'm going to respond. That is for sure. Okay. Okay. If you have any sort of doubt, please do tell me. Like anything apart from this. And one more thing, I'll be solving you the HackerRank problems. That's for damn sure. Why? Because if you want to become a developer, you should be aware of HackerRank, HackerEarth, CodeShift, all those things. That's what I'll be solving in the class. Going ahead, you will only understand. Fine. Please tell me next week, same credentials to attend the class, live class, same credentials. What is the timing for next week? 7 p.m. Is that fine? Okay. Any other thing I forgot? Please tell me. Maybe you just ask me the question regarding to the content or all those things. Let me just clarify all your doubts. Please do contact me, Sharath. Please do ping me personally. I'll just tell you the answer for your question. Okay. You can just text me in WhatsApp or in Telegram. No issues. Guys, any other doubts for anyone? Guys, and one more thing. Sir, for a month you will give certificate or what? Just tell me, you want me to give the certificate for 1 month? Like hardly I would have covered some 30% of content. Really want me to give a certificate for that 1 month? What you will do by keeping the certificate? You will do puja or what? Okay, great. And one more thing, guys, just I forgot what I want to explain something. I think in between you asked this question, right? I forgot. Just a minute. One person asked the doubt. Okay. Okay, some of them are comparing online, offline. Now tell me, guys, the difference between online and offline. I want to give you the clarity. Assume that same thing. You will join any offline course. Fine, you will be joining any offline course. Now tell me, which one is better, offline or online? Offline or online? I want you to respond. Offline or online? Guys, there is only one disadvantage in online. What is the disadvantage? I will tell. Offline, what is the disadvantage at this point of time? You have to risk your life. Yes or no? Risk your life. Sir, why, sir? Guys, still, COVID is not yet over. Yes or no? Please do respond. Still, COVID is not yet over. 100% of maybe minimum 1.5 year it will be there. Till then, if you don't want to learn, that's up to your wish. You have to risk your life in offline, and you have to travel minimum 5 kilometers if you take 100%. If you're traveling, don't you think 50 rupees to 100 rupees, not 50 rupees directly, I'll just write 100 rupees to 200 rupees. Why? Because if you just look at the petrol price and diesel price, 100% you have to spend 100 to 200 rupees per day. And if you want to take the offline class, you have to go and you have to live in that PG. Please tell me, in Bangalore or Mysore or whatever it may be, at that point of time, if you want to go and stay in Bangalore or Mysore, if you are an engineering graduate, per month, how much amount you have to give for PG? Minimum 6,000. Minimum 6,000. Minimum. Okay, and you'll be having so many very good habits. Correct, right? For that, 2,000 and minimum 2K for your shopping per month. Please tell me, per month, what will be your expense? If you go for offline class, what will be your expense? 10,000. And minimum you have to pay the course fees. Worst case, you have to pay 20,000. To some of them will charge 1 lakh. They don't have brains and they will not even give the proper content. 20,000 to 1 lakh is what you have to pay. And please tell me, when it comes to online, you need not to risk your life. Fine, you need not to risk your life. You need not to travel. You need not to pay this fees, that is a PG fees and all. Correct, right? You need not to stay in the PG and all, because you'll be staying safe in your home and observe. And when it comes to offline, you will not be getting any recorded session. Any recorded session you will not be getting. If you are not able to understand that, maybe if you're sleeping in the class, if you're not in a mindset to listen the class, you'll not be getting recorded. But please tell me, when it comes to here, there is no risk. There is no travel, question of travel. You'll be staying in your home by having 3 meals a day, and you need not to pay that amount, a huge amount, whatever I have told. I think 4,000 is what I have told, and you'll be getting the recorded session. Correct, right? There are plenty of advantages. And when it comes to online, don't you think your preferable time, for example, if the time is at 7 o'clock, you can get up from the bed at evening, you can start attending the class at 7 o'clock. But if it was offline class, if the class starts at 7 o'clock, don't you think you have to leave your home minimum by 5:30 or 6 o'clock? Correct, right? Guys, don't see this 100 or 200 rupees. Just see how much amount of time you'll be spending just to go for that class. Correct, right? And one more thing, if you ask the doubt also, nobody will be there. But when it comes to online, 100%, I'll be there to guide you people. If you are asking any sort of doubt, 100%, I'm going to explain. You don't worry about that. Is that clear for everyone? What is the only disadvantage in online? Please tell me. What is the only disadvantage? Let me tell you, it is not in the hand of an institute, or it is not in the hand of a trainer. When it comes to student, negligence of some of the students, and some of them are telling network issue. Guys, I hope everyone are having the access to get a Wi-Fi to your home. Hardly a Wi-Fi will cost around 700 rupees per month. Minimum it will start from 700 rupees. Yes or no? If you are depending on the mobile internet just to attend the session, you just think on that. If you are getting a very good network, you can just attend the session through your mobile internet. If not, at least for 4 months, see, your daily you will be spending 100 to 200 rupees for traveling, PG and all. Get some very good Wi-Fi. Just spend some 700 rupees just for updating yourself. And that's what I can just tell you. The only disadvantage where I can see, guys, if your network issue is there, means you'll be getting the recorded session. 100% you can go through a recorded content, correct, right? If you neglect, guys, why? Because nobody will be there to see you whether you're writing the notes or not. Guys, I'll be assuming that you'll be listening to the class. Simply if you sit like this in front of me, will I be getting to know whether you're listening or not? Yes or no? Or if you put some earphone and if you're watching some movie, will I be getting to know that you're watching a movie? No. You are cheating to yourself. That's it. Guys, really, if you're not interested to attend the session, you just tell me, sir, today I'm not interested, sir. Guys, why? Because everyone are human being. Everyone will be having mindset. Ups and downs will be there in life. If you're not in a mood to attend the session, don't attend. Watch the recorded content at that point of time. If you're really happy to attend the session, if you're really in a mindset to listen to the class, then just come for the class and learn and update yourself. Is that clear? Guys, when it comes to opportunity and placements, trust me, if they are telling you 100% job guarantee, some of them will tell 100% job guarantee. Do you think it is fake or real? Let me ask you the question for students. We'll see how many of them are having the common sense. Forget about sense. If someone is telling 100% job guarantee, is that real or fake? If it was real, don't you think they would have become a prime minister of this country? Correct, right? Yes, it's just what I can tell, advertisement, or just to what I can tell, make the students to see that placements will happen, 100% placement, all the students will be getting placed. Guys, then there will be no point of unemployment. Correct, right? If the bloody institute are giving 100% placement, why the hell the unemployment will be there? Everyone will just take the money and give it to them and make them to join the company. It will not happen. Ultimately, you are the boss. You are the person, one who has to take the step in your life. You have to learn. You have to practice. You have to get the entry to the IT company with your own technical knowledge. Correct, right? That's the reason. Please don't go beyond all those things. 100% placement, nobody can give you, guys. Trust me, nobody can give you 100% placement. Tomorrow, if Narendra Modi is starting an institute, 100%, he cannot give 100% job guarantee. Yes or no? Please do let me know. Guys, if you're not knowledgeable, who will give you a job? Guys, when it comes to placement, if there is any off-campus drive, 100%, I do have a contacts. Like my students will be informing, sir, off-campus drive is there, sir, and we do have some opening in my company, sir. Why? Because thousands of students are working in my IT company, my students, so that at least I have just requested them, if there is any referral or if there is any opening in your company, they'll just telling me, so that I can just push it in the Insta, Telegram, or I'll just see after course completion. If you are an eligible student, I'll just refer you. That's what I can do from my side. But no one I'm telling, I'm not guaranteeing you like, okay, take up this course, I'll make you to work in Infosys. No, I'm not saying that. Why? Because it is not possible, guys. I can guarantee you 200% that I will give you the best of best knowledge, the best of the best content, the best of the best project, the teaching and explanation, all those things that is in my hand. Is that fine? Okay. Thank you so much for everyone for attending the sessions on weekend. I can understand after 3 months or 4 months, you will appreciate yourself for dedicating this time. Fine. Thank you so much, guys. And if you have any sort of doubts or question, please do ask me in Telegram or just ping me in WhatsApp. 100%. I would love to answer all your questions. And we'll see next week. We'll meet a person to person by turning on the camera. We'll just have an introduction of each and every person. Thank you so much and have a great weekday ahead. And yeah, thank you so much.